Welcome back, everyone, to the After the Scales podcast, episode 56, presented by DJD Graphics. I'm Jacob Dove of Phenom Motorsports, along with Shaun, Blight, Canadian Racing Tours. And on today's episode, we have a special guest. He's our first guest out of the Netherlands in Boxmeer, Wout Hoffmans. Thanks for joining us today on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be talking to you guys.
So, you're coming off a great run at the Tulsa Shootout. You made 3 qualifiers. You won 2 heat races. You really made a name for yourself. I feel like Flow Racing guys were talking about you coming all the way from the Netherlands and racing in the U.S. and doing pretty well. Just talk about your experience with that. You know, super crazy week with that many cars, a lot of racing going on, a lot of alphabet soups. But it seemed like you got pretty acclimated to racing against those guys and making your way into the show.
Yeah, I had an awesome week. It was just from the first practice session on. I drove for Johnny Bone this year. It's my first race with him, and just really, the car was on point from the first practice session. So I knew we were gonna have a good week, and then it just goes from there. You need to have the luck, and we had the A-class car in Outlaw, but I won my Outlaw heat race as the first race of the week. So after that, it just was a really smooth week. We made 3 qualifiers. I kind of messed up my outlaw nominating heat race, just not being used to the micros. I only race them once a year, but my stock nominating heat race after that, I went 10-4, so I knew we were good in that after too. So yeah, it was really cool to make 3 qualifiers and be racing up front like that, and just have speed every time we hit the track. And we ended up making 1A main. I would have liked to start further up front after being second in the points after the heat, but I was still pumped to make an A main, and I can't thank Johnny enough for the whole week. That car was on point.
Yeah, we've been talking to people all week who ran the Tulsa Shootout, and they're just talking about how big that event gets every year. What was it like just being in the pits, the atmosphere, the crowd, everything like that? Over 1,000 cars in the pit area. I'm sure there were some guys you were excited to race against as well. Just give us your opinion on the event in general.
Yeah, the event is awesome. I love it for a different reason. It's my first race I ever raced in America, so it's a very special race to me. And this is my 3rd year running it. The first year I ran restrictor, then I ran A class and stock non-wing, and this year was my first time running 4 classes. So the event it's one of the coolest races of the year. I get to have my parents here with me, so that's special as well. They're not here any other time of the year. And it's just inside of that building, there's just so much. It's like a pressure building, and rolling down that ramp, it's one of the best feelings in the world. It doesn't matter if it's a heat race, a qualifier, or the A main, or even practice. It's a really cool place.
So tell us about yourself a little bit, because I'm really curious. There's not many Dutch dirt racers out there, so you're one of the few. I know there's a lot of Australian and New Zealand guys that like to come over to the U.S. and race, but you in particular, you're racing the number 17 Shop House sprint car. You also do some F2 stock cars, which those things like absolutely wicked. Tell us about your background, how you got into it. You're only 17 years old, so you're definitely making a splash in dirt racing already.
Yeah, I started out racing on the circuits out back home in the Netherlands and Europe on go-karts. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I went into oval racing, the stock car racing that we do back home, the F2s. I did the F2 juniors, and then I moved on to the adult class. And I only never really did a full season in the adults. I moved to America the summer of 2023. So I never really did a full season in that, but I managed to win a lot of championships and races in the juniors, and then I did a little bit of racing in England for a full time for 1 year in the mini stock class, and that was really cool as well. But I got a dream to move out here and make a living out of racing, and I had the opportunity to go chase that dream, and I wasn't gonna leave it on the table. I had to take that chance.
What's your exposure to dirt racing like in the Netherlands? Is that something that's popular over there, or how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, we went to vacation in Florida for the Daytona 500 and the World of Outlaw races out there in February. And that's what a lot of people do from the kind of the stock car racing world from England and the Netherlands. And we just went out there for 2 years in a row, and I just knew I wanted to do it. And I had one of my mechanics from back home with me, and he knew I wanted to do it. And he's very interested in the cars and how they work too. He's very technical. And he kind of started talking to a team, and then I kind of started talking to a team, and just making friends really, and that his name is Darren Robinson. He worked for Wayne Johnson on the 2C car, and we just kind of became friends. And he was like, "Well, if you want to race out here, just come race the shootout," and that's what I did. So yeah, there's a lot of exposure for the sprint car racing and NASCAR racing, but that comes over to the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. So that's kind of how we met the guy, and that's how the opportunity came about.
Yeah, so you're driving the number 48H midget for the Chili Bowl coming up this next week. What are your expectations going into your Friday night prelim? You're not in the most stacked lineup out of all Monday through Friday, but you're still got some great competition that you're racing against. What are your expectations? Obviously, you want to do your best you can and try to be up there at the main feature event, but kind of just your goals going into the week.
Yeah, it's hard to say at Chili Bowl. There's so much stuff that can happen. But after last year, it was my first Chili Bowl and first time racing in midget, so I felt like I got a lot of valuable experience there. And going into my second year, I know what to expect. So it's obviously I want to win. That's why I go race. I go race to win, and I'm gonna try everything to win. But obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it. I take it race by race. You got to go by heat race, qualifier, B, A main. So my goal is to I have a goal is to lock into the prelim A feature and not have to go through a B. So just take it race by race and really just go from there. That's my goals.
So before you came on, Jacob and I were looking at your the wrap on your midget, and it's a really nice looking car. We've also got your merch here that we're going to plug. So if you're at the Chili Bowl, go see Wout. He's got some really cool T-shirts. So we're gonna, as you're talking, we're gonna show the pictures. Talk about how this deal came together then for the Chili Bowl, and anyone you got to thank for making it happen.
Yeah, so so Darren, the guy I met in Florida, he's good friends with Grady Chandler. That's kind of how I got in Grady's car, and then the car it looks absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic. Kind
that's
of
cool.
the color from that I used to race with back home, and my dad's race team has always had. So that's a cool little throwback to that. And then Spiveron Design, like you see on the side, they do an awesome job with anything they do. They do all of my stuff, my suits, they do my designs, they do my shirts, they do everything, and they do an awesome job at everything they do. So I can't thank them enough for making me look sharp and making my car look sharp and making my fans look sharp as well. Because the design of the shirt, I came up with an idea, and I'm very picky about that kind of stuff. I want it to be right, and I want every little detail to be right. So I can't thank Lars and Guy enough at Spiveron Designs for kind of dealing with my strive to perfection and all my sponsors, Speedway Pulse Media, Encore Builders, Skegness Raceway, Lazy 8 Services, Autogordijk, Martin Snell Transport, Bedrijfskleding Koning, Carbon Ulrum, Toon Toter Trailers. I can't thank every single one of them guys enough, and there's probably more guys I'm forgetting, but I can't thank anyone enough that's made this deal possible.
Now, well, was that your idea to have that like traveling plane? Because I thought it was pretty cool because the whole theme's the flight WH-48. Was that your idea or was that theirs?
Yeah, that was my idea. I like putting a theme to a t-shirt. So I'm kind of the only guy coming from the Netherlands. So putting the plane on there and the plane kind of flying from Amsterdam Airport to Tulsa Airport. And then Guy from Speedrun Design, he made it come to life and he did a perfect job with it. I might be biased, but I love the design.
Yeah, it's really cool. Post Chili Bowl, what are your racing plans for 2025 then?
So I hope to be back in the Shop Hours Racing 17 sprint car and just do as much racing as we can. We're still looking for some sponsorship. So if anyone's listening to this and want to support us and promote their business, my email and my DMs are always open. That's with Adrian Burial. I also can't thank him enough for everything he's done. We had an awesome year racing this year. Got my first sprint car win and had a lot of fun racing this year. So I hope to do that again this year. And when I'm home, I'll race my car at home. But I don't think I'm going to be home a lot. I want to be in America and keep on chasing that dream of mine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's that dream looking like in your future plans? Do you want to stick with the dirt racing and continue racing the sprint car and maybe move up to a national tour one day, kind of like we've seen international guys like James McFadden from Australia do that? Is that kind of in your plans that you're envisioning for yourself?
Yeah, so I just kind of take it however it goes. I will race whatever anyone wants me to race. Anything with four wheels, an engine, and a steering wheel. I want to race every day of the week. If I could race twice a day, I would. So it's just make a living out of racing is a goal that I have, and that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I love sprint cars, but even a NASCAR deal or the pavement stuff, it looks fun to me. I've done pavement and dirt back home, so just anything with four wheels and a steering wheel, it looks fun to me.
Well, we definitely like we definitely like that attitude. We love having guys on that race multiple disciplines and will get behind the wheel of anything. Ricky Thornton Jr. is one guy that we really like following because he's a late model guy racing the midget at the Chili Bowl, and he races sprint cars. He does all that. So we have a soft spot on this show for anyone that'll tackle any kind of car. What's your support like back home, Wout? Like your family, your friends going to be tuning in on Flow? I'm not sure what time. I think you guys are, what, 6 hours ahead, I think. So
Yeah,
what's the support going to be like back home while you're out there ripping the Chili Bowl?
yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to go Friday night. Because if I go in the week, there's not a lot of people that can stay up and watch, obviously. So uh, making me going Friday night is going to be better for the people back home. And then I have an awesome family; they'll support me. And obviously, it's not easy for me to leave the whole year and just be away from home. But they all support me, and I have some awesome friends and my fans back home. The comments on Facebook and social medias, it means a lot to me. So yeah, it's awesome to see all of it and see all of them watching on Flow as well.
Yeah, I have to say, Wout, that being in America here, I didn't really know about you until I saw the Tulsa Shootout and how well you were doing. So, have you kind of got like a presence now of maybe some more American fans at the Tulsa Expo Center? Maybe buying some of your merch or coming up and talking to you and asking about the Netherlands.
Yeah, the shootout's definitely been a big boost for me. I think my Facebook pages was up 200%
Cool.
something likes and followers and that. So it was definitely a week that gained exposure for me, and that's obviously good because you need to get exposure to get sponsors, and that means a lot of racing. So I love when people come to talk to me and ask about my country because I'm the only one doing this. So it's definitely a different deal for people.
Yeah, I had seen you race, I think, some 410 wings stuff maybe last year. I didn't know anything about you. Like, I'd heard your name, and when we're preparing for a podcast, we don't know much about the guest. It can be kind of scary, but for you with your unique background, I was really excited to talk to you and find out more about you and connect with you. So I'm excited to get to see you race Friday night at the Chili Bowl. That's going to be really cool. Before we let you go, Wout, we always end with our DJD Gear rapid fire segment. We've got 10 questions for you that we're going to fire off. And you just come up with the first answer that comes to mind. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Who were some of your racing heroes growing up?
So obviously Kyle Larson and then Tom Harris, a guy from back home, one of our good friends.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you. I know you're a young guy, so who's the greatest Dutch race car driver of all time?
I'd say Max Verstappen, currently racing in F1.
See, I grew up around Arie Luyendyk. I remember watching him race. He was kind of like the guy in his prime when I was a young kid. So, but yeah, Max. I mean, you can't argue with that. What's the best thing to do in Boxmeer, Netherlands?
Probably leave and go to America.
Fair enough. What are some of your favorite places to travel to?
Any racetrack in America.
Okay. Speaking of racetracks, what's your favorite racetrack that you've raced at so far?
I've got two: Red Dirt Raceway in Meeker, Oklahoma, and then the Tulsa Expo Center.
And what's a track you haven't raced at yet that you're really excited to get to?
Knoxville Raceway, I guess the historic place. I've been there, but I haven't got to race there yet, so I'd love to go race there one day.
Okay, what's your favorite American restaurant that you've been to? It can be like a fast food place even that you stop at when you're traveling.
So fast food place, I like McDonald's. I guess it's just an easy pick. And then I love Buffalo Wild Wings.
That's a good place. All right. What's more annoying, slow drivers in the fast lane or cyclists back home?
Slow drivers in the fast lane.
All right. So I don't know if you've been exposed yet. We've been having this discussion all week. Beans in chili or not?
See, I'm not a big eater, so I don't eat beans.
We don't like beans and chili either. Okay.
Right. I didn't even eat chili, so I can't
All right.
comment
So
on
the
that
last one, and I was explaining to Jacob what stroop waffles are. What's the best topping on a stroop waffle?
That's a hard one. I don't know about a topping, but I know when you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and you put it on top of a cup of coffee or tea, and it kind of gets kind of hot and kind of soft.
So for those
really
that are
good.
watching this podcast and you don't know what a stroop waffle is, well, I don't know if you can describe them better than I can. It's like a soft cookie infused with like a syrup in the middle. How would you describe it? You probably know more about it than I do.
I guess it's kind of like a hard waffle cookie, and then some kind of caramel syrup on the inside. And I take a lot of them, like packs, to America with me, and anyone that I've had them try, they love them.
We can get them at grocery stores here. You kind of have to look for them in like the global food section, but we can get them. And I went to this place when I was in Amsterdam. This Von Wunderen. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but they're giant stroop waffles, and they put like all kinds of toppings on them, and it was just like a absolute diabetic coma. But it was amazing.
Yeah, they're really good when they make them fresh at like a market as well. They're really
so we had to have you on to talk stroop waffles because Americans need to get exposed to stroop. Because like you said, like you put them like over your cup of coffee in the morning, or even you dip it in your coffee, and it really softens it up. Oh my god, it's the best.
Absolutely, yeah. Anyone that I've had them try out here in America, they love them. I've never heard anyone say they don't like it.
You can't not like it.
Definitely.
I don't think you can.
Definitely gonna have to try them because I never had them and they do look delicious. I have to say.
Good, yeah.
Making me hungry.
Well, if you're coming to Chili Bowl, I'll have some.
I'm going.
Well,
I'll bring some down. I'm going to see him at the end of January for Lucas Oil Speed Weeks. I'll bring you down some.
Thank you, Shaun.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on, man. It's been great chatting with you. I'm really excited to meet you in person next week. And good luck. We'll be watching, and hopefully you put on a great show for your friends and family watching back home too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I make it worth it for them to stay up to like 5 a.m. in the morning.
I'm sure you will. All right, thanks a lot. Man.
Hopefully, thank you guys.
Thanks, Wout.
After the Scales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.
So thanks again to Wout for joining us on today's episode. We really appreciate him joining after being a snowy day in Tulsa. It looks pretty cold there. Can't relate because I'm down in Florida. Don't want to brag, but
I can't even relate. We have no snow here.
Yeah, now you're gonna jinx it, Shaun. So before we end today's podcast, we wanted to wrap it up and give you guys our top 5 picks to finish at the Chili Bowl come Saturday at the A-Main. It's going to be tough to get them exactly right, but I know Shaun's going to explain what we got going on as far as a giveaway.
Yeah, so Jacob and I both have our top 5 for the Chili Bowl on Saturday, and we want to hear what your top 5 is going to be. So what we're going to do is when you respond to the post of this episode, it can be on Facebook, on Instagram, Spotify, Apple, wherever you see our podcast, reply with your top 5 finishers to the Saturday A-Main in order, and whoever gets closest to the actual finishing order is going to win a prize pack. I'm going to put together some stuff. I'm going down to the Chili Bowl. So we're going to get an autographed shirt, some hero cards, some stickers, and some cool stuff. And so any one of your finishers who finishes anywhere in the top 5, you'll get a point. You'll get a bonus point if they finish in the order that you picked them in. And if you get the winner right, you'll get 5 bonus points. Any ties we'll put into a random draw if we have a few ties for the winner. But so without further ado, Jacob, do you want to give yours first?
Yeah, so for the people that watched one of our earlier episodes this week, I picked Buddy Kofoid to win the Chili Bowl National this year. I just feel like you know, you kind of have a chip on his shoulder after a few times not making the A main when he was running full time at USAC. But I feel like anytime he gets behind the wheel of the midget, he's going to be competitive. He's going to be really good. He's going to be battling up there. I have him I have him picked to win to Tuesday night for his prelim. So I think he's going to get it done this year, and he's on the cover of this year's Chili Bowl. So that may, be a sign.
That could be bad luck, though.
It could be bad luck too, but if you say bad luck, then it'll be bad luck. So please say it's good luck. And then the second place, I think it's going to be close, but Larson is going to get second. I feel like Larson may start kind of back in the field like we saw in the Tulsa Shootout. But anytime Larson's on the track, he's going to pass a bunch of cars. So maybe he'll run out of time. It's a 40-lap feature this year instead of 55. So he might run out of time trying to get up there, but I think Larson will finish second. In third place, it was hard to not go with Logan Seavey. He's won the last 2 Chili Bowls. I just feel like it's not going to be his year to go 3 in a row. It's going to be really tough, but I still think he'll be on the podium. And then fourth, I've talked about this guy all week, Cannon McIntosh. He is another guy that has a chip on his shoulder. Keith Coons Motorsports Equipment in Oklahoma, in his home state. He got wrecked by Team Ez last year. He's going to want to get up there, and I think he'll finish fourth. And then last but not least, we have Tanner Thorson finishing fifth. He's shown really good speed recently, running in the 25 at the end of USAC National Tour. So I think he's going to be really competitive. He won the Chili Bowl a couple of years ago, so I have him in my top 5.
Interesting. So when I unveil my top 5, we're going to notice something in common with our picks. That I'm sure people will be, what are you guys doing? So I've got Kyle Larson winning. I've made no bones about that. I've got Dayson Pursley finishing second. He's just run so well all year. I've got Logan Seavey third as well. I think he's so good in the midget, but he will just come up a bit short this year. I still have him with a really strong finish. Emerson Axum, I have him fourth. I think his bad luck last week at the Tulsa Shootout is going to turn around, and he's going to get a top 5. And then, like you, I have Cannon McIntosh in my top 5. I have him finishing 5th. So you'll notice we did not pick Christopher Bell, either one of us. I wanted to. I was going to take him second, but I figured someone's going to have bad luck at some point. Like, not all of the favorites are going to finish in the top 5. And I figured a lot of people are going to pick Christopher Bell. So the only reason I left him off, because I would not be surprised if he won it. I just left him off because someone at some point is going to have probably a bad night or wreck or something. And Buddy Kofoid was the same thing. I thought I wanted to just change it up a little bit. So there you go.
Yeah, I feel like you bring up a good point, because when I was making my top 5 list, I initially wrote Christopher Bell for third place, but then I remembered in 2021 he was battling Larson for the lead for the Chili Bowl win, and he I think it was 2 laps to go, and he overstepped the cushion and ended up flipping, trying to run down Larson. So obviously Christopher Bell won the last Tulsa Shootout A main and the non-wing. I think he'll be strong all week, especially in his prelim, but sometimes Bell pushes it a little bit too far, and with that, inexperience, not running the midget all year might come into play, especially if there's a built-up curve on the top.
And that's the only really reason I left Buddy off my list is he's kind of, if you ain't first, you're last. And and I love that about him. I mean, the guy just drives balls to the wall all the time, but he could win it or he could wreck trying, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. The guy is a super talent. I'm not going to argue that, but I had to leave somebody out. So Buddy and Christopher Bell I left out my top 5, but we'll see.
Yep. And I wanted to give a quick little shout out to a driver that I may have been not so talking about this week, and we've been trying to pick dark horses, but I have to remind myself that Briggs Danner is going to be behind the wheel of Alex Bowman, number 55 car, and that's really, really good equipment. I think those Alex Bowman cars are going to be really fast, so wanted to make sure that people know, watch out for Briggs Danner. I don't think he's going to win the Chili Bowl, but he'll definitely be someone that surprises a lot of people.
Yeah, I've got my list printed off, and I've highlighted names that I'm excited to watch every night, guys I'm going to be keying on. I'm going to be doing some photography from the infield, and I highlighted Briggs Danner for his qualifying night, just for what you said. He could really be a dark horse that surprises a lot of people.
Yep. And Shaun, I didn't know, since this is our last Chili Bowl podcast before the Chili Bowl move-in date, and you're going to be there. Talk to us about who you're shooting for and what you're going to be doing there, kind of behind the scenes. And there may be some other drivers that you might do some photography for as well.
Yeah, so we had a couple of the Mount Stout guys on earlier this week. We've got Jacob Dykstra from Port Colborne, who's going to be a part of that team. So he and Jaden Clay, I'll be working with those guys. Cy Lynch, who's a buddy or become a buddy, and he's doing his first Chili Bowl, so I'm going to be helping out those guys. And then there's probably going to be some guys I'll link up with once I get down there. Glenn Steyer's also another Canadian. We're going to be shooting for him. And then there's a couple nights, I think Tuesday and Thursday, I'm just going to go up into the stands and hang out with the top row rowdies. I want to get that experience in. So really excited, just take in everything from the infield to the stands. And this could be my one and only shot at doing this event. So I want to experience the whole thing.
Well, I'm definitely going to be really jealous of you, Shaun, watching from my warm house on Flow Racing. But either way, nothing like being there in person. So I'm excited for you to be there, and make sure when you're down there with your vest on that you wave up to the Flow camera. So I'll wave back at you.
Yeah. I'll be the guy in the orange vest in the infield. Look for me.
Yeah. And we really appreciate everyone for tuning into our last Chili Bowl preview show before the Chili Bowl Nationals. Hope everyone enjoys the race. Sit back, get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be a show. Thanks for supporting our channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow along. Make sure you follow Canadian Racing Tours and Phenom Motorsports, and buy some merch from Wout Hoffmans. He's got some really nice stuff.